Hi there, this is Bridget from the Planner Speechy. Welcome. Today I'm going to be planning using this really cute kit from Scribble Prints Co. called Diagon Alley. I think this was a release that she did. It was like a pop mystery type kind of release. So hopefully it will come back, but this is so cute. I'm obsessed. And then I'm just doing a close-up on this box because I'm pretty sure this is like the list of all the things that they're supposed to get. So you have these 8 boxes. Got some really fun deco here. Got another scene. Some patterned boxes. Solid boxes. Really cute hand. And then we have 2 extra hands. I am going to be using extenders for this week, so we're going to have to figure that out. I also have this bundle from Scribble Prints Co. It's called the Wizard Bundle. I did it once before in silver, and so I did get it again, but I saved some extra sheets so I can use those again, but I'll just go through it. So we have headers that look like the Marauders map, which is really cute. I like the overlays with like the little Harry Potter things. We just have some very basic silver foil. And then this is an older format, so we've got larger scripty fonts. But then I'm obsessed with these headers, and then the washi is super cute. So I am really excited to use all of that. I'm just gonna pair some of these together so that I remember to use those first. So we'll do that and that. We've got these, and then we'll put those together. So I think that will work out the best. Anyway, I am going to speed things up and come back in a voiceover. Hi there, welcome back to the Planner Speechy. So I'm sorry for the intense brightness in this video. I was filming a lot of things and it was raining outside, so I basically had to shift my lighting scheme. Yeah, it's a little too bright, but it does kind of clear up once I get into the day by day. This was my first week back at work, and so I decided to use this Diagon Alley kit to sort of represent gathering supplies, getting ready for the students. This art came out, I want to say, if it didn't come out this year, it came out the very end of last year, but it's really cute. I love that the focus was entirely on Diagon Alley and not the other aspects of Harry Potter. It's sad that the 2 actor characters in this kit have now since passed away. Um, I used an extender this week. I was kind of struggling a little bit though because I kind of messed up the placement, and so the alignment is a little off. But the other thing that's kind of interesting is this kit was mostly brown, which I feel like you don't really see a lot of that. So I tried to mix things up, and I didn't color block this week, and this was super helpful for me. I liked not having to color block. I think it opened me up a little bit for my creativity, and just working out the pattern was a little different. So I work in schools as a speech language pathologist, and so my role at the beginning of the school year, I would say the first 2 to 3 weeks of school are harder than the rest of the year, except maybe for May. Everything else is nothing compared to this because I have a ton of professional development. I had to set up 2 different speech therapy rooms in 2 different schools. I had to do a lot of offsite trainings, and then I had to set up schedules in 2 different schools. And that's the trickiest part, is setting up a schedule, because once you start pulling students, you want to keep doing it at the same consistency. And so I really wanted to start the year off right and It was definitely easier than last year because last year I was brand new to both of these schools, so I had to try and get everything in order a lot quicker. But I feel like this week is a very important one in the life of the speech pathologist. Um, so I put Hagrid up at the top because we love Hagrid, but I had like a tricky time figuring out where to put all the other boxes. I love the Mina Lima schematic. That's the designer that they hired to make all of the books and art that's associated with the Harry Potter series films. So you can actually get some special edition Harry Potter books with the Mina Lima style. And those are really cool. They have sort of pop out elements and special papers that come out of the books. They're beautifully illustrated. They're really stunning um, works of art, frankly. But I love these broom and wand headers. They're just so fun. And I loved being able to use them up at the top because I was sort of combining leftovers from two different wizard bundles that Scribble Prince Co. puts out. She doesn't do a lot of like themed bundles like this, um, but I really love this one, and I actually like it a lot um, better than some of the other underlays I've seen with Harry Potter characters. Um, this was my first time using like one of the new formats of her kits where the date covers are really thin and then everything else is kind of the same, but I just couldn't get over how much more room I had on the top. Uh, so that was kind of fun and different. Um, and then I think I used a chocolate frog to mark that it was August with my Carly plans, and then I tried to use all of the deco. I decided not to use, or maybe I did use the little dots. I can't remember. She's now doing this thing where she adds little dots in between, which I applaud her for only because cutting those out with the printer takes so much longer. The tinier the elements are to cut, the longer they take to print. So it's a lot more effort and work for the cutting machine. So everything else takes longer too. The thing is, getting them off of the paper and sticking them all on individually is kind of a pain. So I can't remember if I actually did it for these. I don't know that I did. I just can't. Oh, yeah, look, see, I'm doing it. So I guess I did do them. Um, but you can see I'm kind of struggling with getting it off of the tiny tweezers. And most people don't use tweezers when they're putting on sticker stuff. So I mean, it looks cute when you're done with it, but it's just so much more work, and I don't think I'm gonna do it again in future. But anyway, I'm about to hop into the day by day. I'm about to cut all of these little stickers down off the top, and I love the contrast between the darkness of this week and then the brightness of last week. I just think it looks so fun and different. So anyway, please stay tuned for the day by day. Hi there. So welcome to the day by day. The first thing I'm going to mark in my planner is that it is for Monday the 18th. Oopsie. Okay. I'm going to mark, I have a bunch of stickers from Carly Plans, Stick with the Plan Co., and Once More with Love. That's Once More with Love. And the first thing that I marked is that I overslept. So this is very bad to do this on the very first day of school. I didn't oversleep by that much, but my alarm that I thought I had set correctly did not go off. And that was really, really bad, especially the first day when you want to make a good impression. So I did make myself a very quick iced coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and use a patterned sticker for this. These stickers are so fun. So this is a butterbeer sticker that is from Wizarding World 2 and Once More with Love. And then that iced coffee sticker is from what's it called? Carly Plan, sorry. And then the next thing that I'm going to mark is that I went to work. So here's my little Hermione. Isn't she sweet? Isn't she fabulous? We had an all-day staff meeting, basically, and that went from, that was a 7:30 a.m. until pretty much 1 in the afternoon, too. We did have a break, and we had breakfast, but yeah, that was kind of special. All right, so the next thing, and I can use a pattern for this, the next thing that I will mark is that I set up my room. So I have 2 speech rooms this year. The first one, this is from Carly Plans. So that's a set up speech room. And then the next thing that I marked is that I had to go through my cabinet and do a little bit of work. So I think it's this darker one here. I think this will be cute. Sort of like a half setup thing here. And then I have this really cute little pen quill from Once More with Love. So I have this cabinet, and I know I spelled that wrong, that has all these speech materials that date back from like, I don't know, 12 years, 15 years. And so I just organized a few things. I got rid of a few things. Was all super helpful and glad that I was able to get rid of stuff. And then I am just going to trying to find a little thing that's like easy to put down. I'll do this. This will be fine. And I just marked that I was with my husband and I was grateful to be with him. So this little silver cauldron is from the foil bundle. It's one of the deco pieces. So I thought that would be fun. And then this With Frank sticker, which I scratched a little bit, is from Carly Plans. Okay, so then moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday, I made myself an iced coffee. So I'm going to go ahead and do I'll do like a thicker thing for that, right up at the top. And I decided to use a little candle for this because it was still dark outside when I made this iced coffee. So I thought that would be fun. That's from Once More with Love. The next thing that I marked is that I worked. And I did a lot of work this day. So I'm going to use a bigger patterned thing here. Oops. These patterns are so fun, especially paired with the Harry Potter stickers. So that is Hagrid. I love his dragon and his umbrella. So cute. I'm just using this work sticker for the foil bundle. I was in a different school this day. I didn't have any staff meetings, but I did have to set up a speech room, which was this horrendous color. It's like a bright purple. If I learn how to like add a photo in videos, I'll add it. It was so bad. I was like, I don't know that I can work in here for this long. And they told me, okay, well, we can try and fix it for you. And I was like, great. So then the next thing that I marked, and I'll use this little round guy there, is that I worked on my schedule with my SLPs. So if you know anything about speech therapy, one of the trickiest parts about being a speech therapist is you have to pull students throughout the day to serve their IEPs for speech. And a lot of these students don't just have speech concerns, they have other concerns that you have to worry about. And so if they're being pulled for reading or math or social emotional skills or behavioral skills by a special education teacher, then you have to look at their schedule as well. We also have self-contained students that are in different classrooms this year, and so we have to figure out when we can push in to see them as well. So the whole thing is like a giant juggling act, and of course the schedule changes. Kids unenroll and then new kids enroll and then other kids are referred, and so it's constantly changing. So I end up with about 30 different drafts of one schedule within, I'd say, the first 5 days. So nothing is ever concrete. But that first meeting where you try to set the tone for the rest of the week, that's the meeting that you really need to focus. So I tried really hard to work to set that schedule up. So then the next thing I did have scheduled, which I sort of forgot that I did this, but I mean, I'm glad I did it because it was important. I did set up, I had a doctor's appointment with a psychiatrist. It was a virtual visit, but it had been on my calendar since May. And so for me, I used Luna. For me to attend this was very, very important. And the meeting actually went a little long. So, oh, wait. This was not my psychiatrist. Sorry. This was with the new doctor who was giving me a third opinion on at my fertility clinic. That's who it was. And she was phenomenal. She was great. She gave me lots of information. We talked for a very, very long time, probably to the dismay of my other SLP, but she was super supportive. It was a great conversation. And she basically said that the first doctor who I talked to, who gave me opinion that made me kind of crazy, she said, "No, I disagree with that. Here's what I want to try. And how do you feel about that?" And I was like, "This looks great." And she was like, "Great." So we kind of went from there. But it was like tough conversation. And it's not easy to have these conversations. So it was just bananas. Anyway, moving on. The next thing that I marked, and I'm using this little snitch for this, is that I had to talk to teachers about my schedule and about uh, some of the students that were going to be on their caseload that required speech. If they needed accommodations, I had to share those IEPs at a glance with them, and that was very helpful and important for me to do that. And then I guess I used a pattern, so I need to use a non-pattern now. Let's use this. I'm going to run out of all these flags like super fast. Whoops. And then the next thing that I marked is that I had, so this, oh, I just see, I'm not changing it. I see what I did. Whoops. I don't even care. The next thing is that I had the child led with a D autism summit. So this had actually started on the 18th and it was live, but I did attend the live session on Tuesday night. But because it coincided with my first week of work, I could not attend any of the sessions live. So I paid for this special all access pass where I get to look at these programs for a year, and I'm going to use them as my continuing ed development. But for now, I can't really do anything else about it. Okay, moving on. So on Tuesday, the first thing that I marked is that I did a coffee run. So I'm just going to go. Woo, I just bumped into the thing. Bonk. I did do a coffee run, and this is like the first non-Harry Potter thing that I'm using. But whatever. The next thing that I marked is that I had to drive to my PD. So I'll use this for that. I had an offsite PD, which I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. But it was basically for the entire district. All of the SLPs had to show up in this one building, and I was like, why are we doing it like this when we all have open house later this day? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So then the next thing that I marked, and I used Voldemort to mark this because this was the most ridiculous PD. I want to say the first 2 hours of it could have been an email. Like, that's how ridiculous it was. But anyway, we have a whole new system set up this year, and we decided to draw it out, I guess. But the one thing I did like about it is I did get to have lunch with my coworkers. I got to meet some new SLPs. It's pretty much the only time of the year when I get to meet SLPs from other schools, because during the school year, we're just too busy to do anything. So that's kind of the way that goes. Then we went to lunch, and then we came back and we had to finish our PD, and then I decided to skip the very end. I didn't get any credit for that, but that's okay because we had too much to do. Like, there was just too much to do, and so I'm going to use this little Deathly Hallows sign along with this to mark that I taped up the room. So I had decided that we were going to paint my speech room because the color was just too horrible. And so we went back to the school, and I spent probably 20-30 minutes taping as much of the room up as I could. But then we had open house. So if you don't have a kid or you don't know what open house is, basically open house is when oh, I can use a patterned one. Do I have a patterned one? Of course I do. Of course I do. Open house is when you can come and meet your kids' teachers, and you can come and talk to people. And if you have questions, you can ask them questions. So I'm using this little sorting hat. If you notice, that is a Hufflepuff tie. I am a Hufflepuff. And J.K. Rowling sucks. Anyway, so we had open house, and that went from, I guess it was 4 to 6. So that was a long day because I got up at 5 in the morning and I worked until 6 at night with a half-hour break. And then the last thing that I'll mark is that as soon as, and I decided I wasn't going to go, I was not going to go to Publix. Usually this is when I go to Publix and get stuff, but I was just too out of it and I didn't want to go. So I decided I was going to go the next day. So flew home to be with Frank, my husband, because how cute is that? And that is the first half of the week. I'm loving this so far. It's super cute. Okay. Woo. My planner is getting hefty, you guys. Okay. Moving on to Thursday. Thursday, I actually have an extender, although I probably should have saved it for Friday or Wednesday. I don't know why I did it quite like this. But first thing that I marked, and I just need to remember where I am, is that I did a coffee run. So I'm going to use this guy to mark that I did that. I have quite a few things to mark this week. So this butterbeer icon is from Carly Plans, and I'm using that to mark coffee run. It's a little big for that script, but whatever. So on this day, Frank had a doctor's appointment, so I had to drive him to the doctor in the morning before I went to work. So we ordered coffee at Starbucks so that he could sit and drink his coffee while he was waiting for his appointment. And then I did that. So I'm going to use this little patterned thing to mark that I did that. I feel like that's really crooked. Is that crooked? Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, it is. It's just, now it's like really crooked. Good grief, what did I do? I think it's because I didn't want to cover up this stitch. Not stitch. Is it stitch? I'm so tired. Snitch. I knew it was an S blend. I was like, what? Okay, and then the next thing that I marked is that I worked. And I'll use this fun little thing here. It's cute, but it's like, I don't know where to put it. You know what I mean? Like, do I put it in the middle? Oh, of course I did that. Oh, of course I did that. Okay. Come on. So it was correct. If I had just left it alone, it would have been fine. Ooh, oh no. I just messed this whole thing up. Okay. Now it's all bent out of shape and wonky. Well, that's kind of how my day went. So that's probably accurate, but that's what I get for trying to be clever. Okay. And then I had a planning meeting. I had to talk to teachers, and then in the middle of the day, I had to leave to go to Lowe's to buy paint, which was very nerve-wracking for me because you don't know, nobody knows this about me, except for a few of you. I have never painted anything in my life, really. And so I didn't know what to ask for when to paint a room. So I got the dimensions and I did everything I could think of. But the guy was super helpful and was like, well, if you pay for this paint, you only have to do one coat and blah, 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 blah. And oh my gosh, I had an extender. Pfft, I could have made that way better. All right, well, now we're going to use some big old labels now because I can and I will and I have to. And there it is. So we're going to use the crap out of those. Cool. All right, so the next thing that I'll mark is that I painted with my coworker. God bless her. She was so sweet. She helped me and like talked to me, and like it wasn't even her room. I mean, she's going to be using it, but it wasn't even like she had to use it. She's the best. So I'll use this big old one here to mark that I went to Publix. And I did a grocery run. So I'm using the chocolate frog from Carly Plans. And I'm going to cut this in half, which is probably going to mess me up. But I'm doing it. Grocery run. Love it. Did it. Amazing. Okay, so that was Publix. And then I sort of don't have anything else to mark here, except I guess I could mark a couple of things. Okay, so I did that one. So now I'll do this big old thing here. And Dobby is my husband's favorite character from Harry Potter. He's still angry about what happened to Dobby, as he should be. And then I guess I'll mark that we watch TV. So let's do this. I guess if I want it like that, and then I can put something there. What do I have that's good for that? I could use you could use this sorting hat like And then I can say that we watched TV, which is what we did. So where is my little thing? You know what? I'll do the with my love. Except I did that already. I'll just handwrite it. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Fixed it. Amazing. Next thing I'll mark is that I went to work. And I only have 5 things to mark, so I can use bigger. I love when I can use the bigger ones. They're more fun, you know? Let's use this big old patterned one. We've got Dumbledore here. So it's Friday, and I was doing work. Friday, I had rain showers that kept me up all night. I did take a shower this morning. I packed the car, so I packed it with the air filters. I packed cat stuff for my coworker who was coming to work, and it was a busy day. I had to call different schools. I had to share IEPs with teachers. I had to do, and then I had to go to my other school, move furniture. Move furniture around. It was like a whole thing. Wait, I used the dark one, so now I can use, I guess, this square. And I'll just put that like that. And I have this really cute invisibility cloak, and I just marked that I'm in my feelings because it was such a crazy day. I was just overwhelmed. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of people talking to you. I went from having like a very nothing existence where I was very calm and collected and could do whatever I wanted to like having all these people bombard me with questions, and I don't know. It was just a lot. Okay. So the next thing I'll mark is that I went to the library. And I love going to the library. The library centers me. You know, it makes me feel good. So that, wow, that matches perfectly. That's eerie. That is, those are both from Carly Plans. It's the Wizard book. And then the next thing is that what did I do? Oh, I marked that I was anxious. Wow, I was very in my feelings, wasn't I? What would be a fun way to mark this? I don't want to use another thing, and I just use that. Okay. Let's use this like round doohickey. That's way too far over. Should kind of like kiss the edge. So I'm using my Snape. He's so cute. And I just marked that I was anxious. And then the last thing that I marked is that my husband got invited to hang out with the neighbors. I was totally just shot in terms of my ability to think, breathe, move, etc., etc. Oh, whoops. I don't want to do that because then it'll be upside down. And so I just marked that I doom scrolled on my phone. That's what I did. I was just so tired and out of it. I was like, this is where I'm at. Okay. So then, oh, Diagon Alley. So cute. So then on Saturday, my saving grace, I tried to sleep in and I could not. It was not happening. But I did make avocado toast. So I am going to use one of these because I haven't used it yet. I made avocado toast, which is just something I do when it's Saturday morning. And then I made Saturday avocado toast. I did work on my schedule, so I did do a little bit of work. And I will mark that because I did do that. And I don't want to pretend like I didn't when I did. And this was actually where I got a lot of stuff done this day. So I'm going to use that script. And then what do I have that I can use that's like good? Just put them all away. Let's see. I'll use another Marauders map because I like the idea of using a Marauders map to work on schedules. I think that's cute. So that's from Wizarding World, Carly Plans. Okay, and then the next thing that I marked is that I read. What am I on? I'm on the brown one. Okay. See, I like these, but I feel like there's not enough room to use it. And I just used a patterned one. So I'll use this. Okay. So mark that I read. Got this big old book here. I was reading Mirror of Beasts by Alexandra Bracken. Definitely worth reading. You should read Silver in the Bone first, though, if you're going to read it. And then I wanted to mark that I did planning time. Oh, this is going to be so cute. This is my favorite of all of the ones that she makes. Planning time. That's from Once More with Love. Wizarding World 2.0. And then the next thing that I marked is that I got McDonald's for dinner. My husband was like, you know, I'm kind of craving McDonald's. And I was kind of like, I love you so much right now. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know how much I wanted McDonald's. All week I wanted it. And I know it's terrible for you. I know it will kill you. I know it's not good, but you know what? And I did not try that freaky little, what was it? The McDonald's Land Grimace shake. I looked at it and I was like, this looks disgusting. And it was like 1,000 calories just for the shake. So I was like, absolutely not. Nope, nope, nope. So then I picked the movie for movie night. That looks crooked, but I don't care. And the movie was, what did I pick? Jungle to Jungle. Crazy Tim Allen movie. Like, bananas. Bananas Tim Allen movie. Okay. Then the next thing that I marked for Sunday is that I cuddled. I feel like it's like a light one now. So I'll use this. All right. Whoop. All right. And I use the candle from the Wizarding World 2 sheet. And then the next thing that I marked is that I read. So I will use this little thing with Malfoy. Like that. And I read Mirror of Beasts. And then the next thing that I'll mark is that we had Harry Potter donuts, which are so delightful. They were from Krispy Kreme and they were so good. Because, like, why not? I saw them. So they had like different house ones. They were Harry Potter Krispy Kreme donuts. They were delicious. They were so, so cute. And then the next thing I marked is that I printed and cut stickers. So I'll use this one. It looks askew. Why does that look so crooked? Because it is. Because it's massively crooked. I don't know how people do this and get this straight. I feel like I never do. So there's that cute little wand. And there's like a crazy thing happening in the planner community right now with printed and cut stickers. So yeah, it's a whole mess. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. Okay, I'll use this. This is easy. Next thing I will mark is this. I've got my Sirius Black here because he's so cute. And I filmed Plan With Me's. And then the last thing that I mark here is that I did laundry. And I'm going to use this because it's so stinking cute. And I have this cute little sock from Carly Plans. It's like Dobby sock. And then I did laundry. And that is that. Holy cow. I mean, I am super duper excited about how this turned out. This looks so good. I'm definitely going to have to get this kit again, which stinks because she just did a pop mystery, so I don't know when she's going to do another one. Maybe for Black Friday. I don't know. Let's see. All right, so that is that. I think this came out super well. I love that I chose this for the first week of school. It's definitely my Diagon Alley week, and I definitely needed a lot of magic this week to make it work, but I am so happy with how this came out, and I love using themed stickers for the entire week. I love that. I think that worked out super well. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next week. I hope you have a really good rest of your week. Bye.